great presentation. Alyssa, please.
Good morning. I'm Alyssa Moore. I am the ITRC at North Fork. I guess now I'm the ITRC at the Southern Campus. So some of you I will get to work with this year at Ashby Lee and at Stonewall. So this presentation, going deeper into virtual reality. I'm a person that truly believes experiencing something for yourself makes it so much more real. Seeing something, exploring something makes it so much more real. I am a visual learner. If you tell me about it, I probably am not going to understand it. If you show me, I will have a much bigger picture of it. And those of you that have worked with me, you'll explain something to me and I'll say, okay, you got to draw it out or show me a picture, because I don't understand unless you show it to me. And so this was kind of the eye-opener, show me idea that I discovered. So where did it actually come from? So in April of 2015, we went to a conference at JMU called Brainstorm. And Brainstorm is just a place where teachers, centers, they brainstorm the things that they're doing in their classrooms. There's new technology there. There's all kinds of fun things. One of the things that came out of Brainstorm was Google Cardboard. It was right at the beginning of the release of Google Cardboard. And so down in the bottom right-hand corner is a Google Cardboard viewer. For some of you, you may remember the old Viewmasters with the clickers. That's kind of what I thought of when I looked at it. But we tested them out, and in the top you'll see Shanda there. She did not know her picture was here. But we were amazed. If you could have seen us that first time, we couldn't believe it. You put it on and you feel like you're there. You are right there experiencing it for yourself. And we are turning around and we are talking about it and we're pointing and we are so excited. So at that conference, I left. Before I even left that conference, I went to Amazon and ordered one because I had to have it. So Amazon Prime, got it in 2 days. I'm standing around my house, I opened the box, I'm so excited. And I put my phone in and I had downloaded a couple of apps. There wasn't many at the time. I downloaded a couple of apps, and I'm standing in my living room and I'm looking through this thing and my husband said, what in the world are you doing? Like, you look crazy. And I'm like, you've got to experience this. You've got to see this for yourself. So I turn it over to him and he's like, oh, this is really cool. So that's where the idea kind of came about. But where did Google Cardboard even come from? So Google Cardboard came from Google engineers, David Coase and Damien Henry. They worked at the Cultural Institute, Google's Cultural Institute in Paris. And during this, they created this during their 20% time. So some of you may ask, well, what is 20% time? 20% time is pretty amazing. It's 1 day a week that Google sets aside that their developers have a time to be innovators. They can create any project they want. They can work on any idea that they want. Gmail was a 20% project. Google News was a 20% project. AdSense, a 20% project. There is rumor, true or not true, I've tried to figure it out, that Google has went away from this and no longer does this. But one of their executives specifically said, it's the idea we still instill in our employees that makes this idea work. It's still the idea that 20% of their time, whether it's written in our plan or not, is devoted to creating new ideas, to creating new projects, and developing new research. And so, if you remember, it was April of 2015 when I saw it. It was released in June of 2014 to Google's I/O conference. Their I/O conference is a place where developers and engineers and software designers, they go and they see all the new things that are released. And then they go out and create new software and hardware to go along with it. They usually are giving tons and tons of free gifts there. And they're usually rather expensive. They're tablets and new computers and all kinds of new fun things. At this conference, they were each given Google's cardboard. So a very cheap project, and they were sent out to develop things for it. They didn't believe that anything was going to come of it. They felt like Oculus Rift, which if any of you are gamers know, it had come out in the gaming world, and they figured there's no way this is going to fly. Oculus Rift is already out there, it's in the gaming world. But the thing about Oculus Rift was, it's expensive and it's only for gamers. They wanted something that was immersive, that was cheap, and that anybody could have their hands on to do other things with. And so, not even a year later is when it started to be released at various technology conferences. In June of 2015, Google released Google Expedition Project. I was so excited because the Google Expedition Project is where you get a classroom set and you get a teacher-driven app, well, as I say, it's on tablet, and the teacher can drive the experience for the grade level students to where they want to go. I want to show you a video of it because, again, I got to see it to understand it. So this is the video they released.
You could pick anywhere in the world that you want to go. Where would you want to go?
I would like to go to the moon, Thailand, Asia, Greece,
India to Nigeria, my homeland.
one or maybe all of the 7 wonders of the world. When you explore different places, you have the chance to actually learn something new.
You want to be able to show the kids that there's something outside of your community that you could go to and learn from, and that there's other places you can visit.
All right, so let's do our objective and we'll talk about the lessons for today.
We're going to take a field trip to Verona, Italy to see the place where Romeo and Juliet lived.
I'm going to take you on this field trip under the water. Okay, you guys ready? Pick up your devices.
And look in your cardboard.
And this really does happen.
Go.
Oh, wait, China.
This is the Great Wall of China.
We got to see the place itself so we could actually understand what she was talking about.
How long would it take to walk the length of the Great Wall of China?
How much more enriching than just showing them a picture or just having them read about it.
This device can actually make us go to places that we've never been before.
It brings the lesson to you. You have to see it for yourself to believe it.
There's so much other places to see, so you know that it's never going to end.
So this was their pilot program. And I applied, and I applied, and I applied. And every time I got an email that says, they're not close enough to you. They're not close enough to you. They were all over the world, but the pilot never came close enough to us. And I thought, but I have to have this for my kids. Because, see, and that's not the message. Because think of all the field trips that you went on. Think of all the places that you've visited. Think of all the experiences that you've seen and you want to share with your kids. I was there. I wanted to share so much more with my kids. I wanted them, I lived in Hawaii for almost 4 years. And I got to experience Pearl Harbor. Hearing about it is nothing like walking on that memorial bridge and looking down and physically seeing the oil that lays on top of the water and knowing that there's a ship underneath. But what a great experience, not just to have a 2D picture, but to have a 360-degree image of it, that my kids could actually go there and explore for themselves. Sometimes when we take pictures, we take what we think is interesting. We don't give kids the opportunity then to be able to explore for themselves, to walk through the memorial themselves, and to see things for themselves. A couple of years ago, when I was in the classroom, we took kids to Monticello. That field trip, with budgetary reasons, has now been cut out of the 6th grade budget. How sad is that, that we have Monticello right in Charlottesville, but our kids can't experience that? And we all know that we teach a population of kids that many of our parents aren't going to take their kids there. So we want to show our kids that. It's now possible with this VR system. You can actually take the kids to the museum and take the kids to the house and walk them through it, and they can see for themselves what you would see by going there. Do you remember going to DC? I know when I was in school, we went to DC a ton of times, and so we saw all of the museums. But how many of us get to take our kids to those museums now sitting in class? Not many anymore. It's a chance for us to go through museums and see things in life. But virtual field trips is just the iceberg of what this system will actually do and what these things will actually do. It's hands-on learning for the kids. It's their chance to explore. It's their chance to analyze a situation and look at it, compare it with a friend. You have two kids in your room that are looking at the same piece of artwork, and now they say, well, did you see this? No, I didn't see that. Well, did you see this? It's now a chance for them to see things and talk about things. If you look at that visual is a huge, on the top right is a huge thing for me. 93% of all human communication is visual. 90% of information sent to the brain is visual. So this virtual reality is all about vision and what you're seeing. What a great impact it can have on our kids. I think we've all heard, we've all done things the old way for so long. Our school system has never changed, and it's time that we start thinking of new ways. If budget is an issue, well, how are we going to get that to our kids now? We need to figure that out, and this is an option. This is a vehicle to get us there. And so I wanted to give my kids that, which is why I wrote the grant. So I wrote the grant, and at the time, this was in December, so this is a very short period of time. We're not, all of this turned around quite quickly. When I originally wrote the grant, and even at the beginning of the school year, there was not a huge amount of apps. The amount of apps that are now available in VR has tripled. From the time even we finished up our one project in school till the other night when I looked again, there's more apps that are great for education. People are constantly making great apps for education. And so in December, I went ahead and I purchased the cardboard goggles, or cardboard glasses. I purchased the cell phones, and I purchased the tempered glass because we all know our kids are going to drop them and the screens are going to break, so at least there's tempered glass on them. That was in December. By February, I realized the cardboard is not working well. The kids it's breaking apart too quickly, but there was a bigger issue. If you have an astigmatism, it's very difficult for you to be able to see within the cardboard. It was giving kids distorted visions. Some kids were seeing blurred visions, double visions, and things like that. So I started researching. In February, I found these, and these were $29.99 for glasses, but what a better product. I'm paying $16.99 for the cardboard ones, but now I'm actually at plastic ones. These are great because they actually have the ability to adjust each eye individually, both up and down as well as left to right. And this gives every kid their customized ability to actually see within them. So these were the key. And so I went on just out of curiosity, because as I've been doing this short amount of time, the pricing of things is getting cheaper and cheaper. And so yesterday, last night I was curious, $23.99 for the exact same ones I bought in February. So it is getting cheaper. And I'll tell you, for older students, I purchased the cell phones for my kids. I purchased 4 of them. You do not need a carrier, you just need the cell phone. And so I hooked them to our wireless, and we didn't need to have the data portion of the project of the phone. We just needed to be able to have it on wireless. I spoke with a teacher at Brainstorm this year who said she teaches at the high school level. Her kids all have phones, and how many of us, we know our kids have phones. At the very beginning of the year, she asks who all has phones. She has a couple extra supplemental phones, but all the kids download the apps that they need for that class on their phone. The kids want to bring their cell phones to class anyway, and she said it's great. Now we're actually using them for good as opposed for a distraction. And so that's an option as well to assist with that. The power of learning in students' hands. If you look at this top left picture, it really depicts what the students were like. He was saying, "Oh my gosh, you've got to see this. This is crazy." So basically, what happened was I started in a 6th grade classroom. They were doing a project-based learning where it was 2 integrated. It was math and English, and they were visiting the Iditarod. They had read a book. The math class was developing dog houses for the dogs. They had followed mushers and analyzed various data of the mushers. They talked about all these components of the Iditarod. So then I went and Google released a whole set of 360 images of the Iditarod, the actual Iditarod. So the kids were able to go there. They were able to see it. They were able to see the start-finish line. There was one that was actually, the camera was positioned so it looked like you were on one of the dog sleds and they could see around you. And so it was their ability to feel like they were actually there. So now we took all those pieces of learning and they felt like they could actually experience it. For most of our kids, probably all of them, they'll never get to experience that beyond virtual reality. And so this experience, I believe it gives kids the ability to have constructivism-based learning. It's their ability to go, to explore, to learn, to analyze. It's really their ability to see things in a different way. I think it gives kids so much more than that, though. So if we move where were my challenges, we've all heard it, it's time. I wasn't able to finalize this until February because the reality was in December when I started sharing this out and letting kids see it and things like that, all students couldn't see it, so it became an issue. So then I didn't get the actual full version until February, so time is then of an issue. All of your teachers are crunched. It's how to make it work in with what you're doing. The cardboard was an issue which is now resolved. But at the time it was a huge challenge because I'm going, how are we going to afford something that every student has the ability to see? So that was a challenge that I had to research and overcome. Volunteers. So getting teachers to be willing to stretch outside their comfort zone for this, beyond just the 6th grade. That's difficult at times because teachers have where they want to go and what they want to do. And so getting teachers to kind of stretch from there was a challenge of mine and see how this could positively impact the classroom. And then the evaluation portion. That probably was one of the harder aspects of this. Beyond our observation, I wasn't able to collect a lot of data on how did it truly impact the kids. Beyond talking to the kids about it and seeing what they were doing and saying, there wasn't a lot of, and I'm a math teacher at heart, so for me, I wanted the numbers. That piece of the puzzle I didn't have this year, which was a little frustrating at times because I couldn't quite figure out how to analyze that piece of it. But what apps are available and how can you connect with them? So probably my favorite app is down in the lower right-hand corner. It's Google Street View. And you can actually download that on your own phones. This is the ability to go anywhere. There's museums on there. You can actually go to a place and look at it, but there's also a gallery of collections. And so Google releases all of these various pictures, and it's the ability to see all these places and go places. I went to the conference at JMU, and there was a geography teacher that at one of the local high schools that was there. Her class is set up in a way which she called them hyperdocs. It's an ability for kids to kind of explore on their own in general within the class. But a piece of it is that they go and they look at the places that they're physically talking about. They go look at Venice. They go look at Paris. They go look at the Eiffel Tower. They experience Versailles. They do all of these things because they're physically going to see it. There's also Discover VR. So Discover VR, these are just a few of the apps that I've played with recently. Discover VR has a lot of the Discovery Ed type things in it, so science, social studies. There are some various little math ones within Discover VR. There's the ability to take a tour of space. There's a really great one that walks you through the solar system and you see each planet and it describes each planet. The human anatomy one. So there's a whole bunch of different ones within human anatomy that's pretty amazing. You have the ability to see the different components of the heart, you have the blood circulatory system, you have muscles. So the human anatomy and human body one is really great. And then the sites. There's more and more coming all the time, and there's tons of ways to integrate this. This is just a very small piece of this puzzle. And as we move forward, I would love to be able to work with additional teachers to figure out how to integrate this into your curriculum. Because within this Google VR or virtual reality glasses, it really is across all grade levels. It really is across all subjects. From literally down at your primary levels, I shared it with our IT class. They were amazed because they went to the ocean and got to see sharks and turtles and fish, and it told them this is a great white, and then it would swim by them. The look on their faces when they got to see those animals and feel like they were in the ocean with those animals. So it really has the ability to stretch all grade levels. And it has the ability to be incorporated within many different subjects. So how did we evaluate it? Well, the other piece of this puzzle is that Google VR, you have the ability to take your own pictures. So my kids learned how to do that. I took our technology class, our computer class in 6th grade, and I gave them a project, and I said, can you figure out how to share with new incoming kids the important areas within the school? Show them, take pictures of it, figure out what are the important areas, what does it look like, how are you going to do this? So at the top there is a 360-degree picture that when you put in the camera you can actually stand and look around with, of our cafeteria. They went and took pictures of the Centrum, of the cafeteria, of the office, of various locations within the school. They figured out how, and they were amazing to watch because when they would look at it and there was a little piece wrong, then we got to do the whole thing again. So they were pretty good at figuring out how to take the pictures. But now take your own camera and take it on vacation with you. The kids were like, oh, we can take it on vacation with us this summer, and then we can show our friends when we get back. Yeah, you can. Now that gives all the kids an opportunity to share the places they've been to and the things that they see. And so I evaluated it to say, not only did we use it to experience it, or to see it, now we created our own. And we found ways to create additional things. And so my hope is that we will continue to learn to create these 360-degree pictures, and we will continue to learn to make our own adventures in that way. This is just one of my students, actually I think there's two in this video, that shared what they thought.
I learned that you can feel like you are actually there. I did the Iditarod one, and I felt like I was racing in the Iditarod, and you can go around the turns. And I learned that you can feel like it's kind of like a virtual, and you can feel like you're in that spot. I learned how they race with the dolls and how the experience is, and how they're moving in different ways.
So the second girl, her biggest thing was, and she said, I felt like I was going to fall off a cliff at first. Because you do a little bit. When you first put them on, when you're getting used to them, she said, I thought I was going to fall off somewhere. I didn't know where my footing was. And you do a little bit. You have to get used to them. But they really enjoyed it. They want to do more of it. They want to see other places. It intrigues them. They want to know what else is out there. For some of our kids, it's an opportunity to be in exploring those places. So, one of the things that I would love to eventually invest in, now that my kids have taken all these pictures, is Google released what's called JUMP. JUMP is in the top right corner. It's 16 cameras connected with a microphone that you can set on a tripod, and it takes perfect 360-degree photos. And so now, as opposed to having to stand there and you have to click each frame up top and down below, this is the ability, it'll actually do it for you. And down below is one of the pictures that it took. So this, this is something you can add to it to be able to send kids out to take those 360-degree pictures. The change and improvement that I want to see in this project is I want to increase the amount of teachers that are willing to go and take this on this challenge and see how we can incorporate it in their classrooms. I think if you read a novel and your kids have no clue where this place is, now you say, go look at it, go explore it. What about sending our kids out into our own community to take pictures and create a pathway for new students coming in to see our outside community? There's tons of things, so I want more of all of this. I want more kids to get to experience it within our county. I want more subjects to get involved with this, and let's figure out how to integrate it into your classroom. More devices. For high school, the more devices is probably a little bit easier than the elementary school, because at the high school we can purchase the glasses and have the kids use their cell phones. For the elementary school, we need more cell phones. We need more ways for the kids to be able to use it. And so for next year, I want to see what does the evaluation process really look like? How does it help a kid understand what you're talking about more? And so I would like to further develop that for next year. So in 2016, just here recently, in fact, at the beginning of this month, Google released its next adventure down this path. It's called Daydream. And so if you have an Android phone, your next software upgrade will be called Android N. Within Android N will be called what's called Daydream Ready. And it's a whole package in the sense of Google has released it to be able to incorporate the smartphone, the headset, and the apps. One of the biggest things, if you use your personal phone and a text message comes in and you're somewhere, it interrupts it. And it glitches wrong. And so you have to reset it. With this new Daydream Ready software, it allows cell phone notifications to come in correctly. If you're taking a picture on your actual cell phone and your phone rings, then it interrupts the ability to continue taking that 360 picture. This whole Daydream Ready will eliminate some of those pieces. But from the very small articles and things that are releasing about it, it's so much more. So I'm interested to see where does Google go next with this. Google is very much on board that it is an educational as much of a fun idea. And so they want to continue to encourage teachers to take these explorations with their kids. The possibilities are truly endless. When I first got these devices, I sent this video to my teachers because this really kind of grasped it at my heart. This is how the Google goggles actually saved a baby's life. And so the possibilities of this are endless. So I'll leave you with this.
What I'm essentially going to show you, what we are essentially going to show you today, is how a life-saving operation was created using a cardboard box and a smartphone. That doesn't sound plausible, but it's true, and it happened right here. So about 4 months ago, two twin girls were born, sisters, Tegan and Riley. They were identical twins, but very early on you could tell that Tegan was different. And it turned out when they took her to the hospital that she was born with one lung and half a heart, which is a lethal set of heart defects. So she went to see the physicians in her hometown, and the family was given the worst prognosis you can imagine, and they were told that she was inoperable. That's a word we hate here. They were told that they should take her home and keep her comfortable. This is what the doctors saw. This is what we saw when we first looked at her. This is her chest x-ray. So what you can see is half of her chest, the left half, is filled with her deformed heart, and the other half is filled with her single lung. So this presents a unique challenge for cardiac catheterization and cardiac surgical repair, because you can't open a textbook and find out how to do this operation. So the family started searching. Some of us thought we could come up with an operation. And so I went to Dr. Muniz and asked him what imaging technology we could use to come up with a repair that had never been done before.
So at our team here, we've been working for the past year and a half on ways to represent the images we take of hearts using 3D technology, because normally the imaging technology we use, whether it's CT or MRI scanning, shows the images on a flat plane, sort of like the images you're seeing behind
So
you.
this was actually one of the moments when we got to actually see this technology. I was pretty happy about it, and we used the data that we got from the CT scan to generate those images, and then used the Google Cardboard to actually look at them. You know, there's certainly more expensive technologies you can use to do three-dimensional or virtual imaging, but I thought this was really elegant because it's essentially.
We do not, and I know it's going to depend a lot on Tegan, how she's recovering. She was a very sick little girl, and she did have a very major operation. So we are just taking it day by day. It's what we did from the time she was born. We took every day for every day, knowing that it could very well be our last. And so we are very accustomed to taking every day by every day. So we get good news, and we're all that much more happier for it.
So it's going to be a very special Christmas.
Oh, this
Tell
is.
us about how special this Christmas is going to be on Friday.
It's a big day for us. You don't imagine having to spend your first Christmas away from home like we are doing in a hospital setting, but our first Christmas with twins is, I mean, what better gift could we have other than being given the gift of life for our baby girl again?
So, when I saw that, the doctors at their hometown in Michigan Minnesota was ready to give up. Take your baby girl home, there's nothing more to do. The doctors behind me said, no, there's got to be a way, there's got to be something we can do. They've used this new technology to figure it out. So we just have to give our kids the ability to explore and try these new things and see where they can go, what they can do. This was probably, this was a little emotional for me as well the first time I watched it, because I thought, wow, this is just going to go leaps and bounds. So I encourage you guys to, if you want to use them, please, I have them with me today. You've got to check them out for yourself. You've got to see. I have the ocean. I have some of the various Google sites set up. I have the ability to show you Norfolk. A piece of the puzzle I didn't share with you, and I will share with you. One of the pieces of the puzzle we figured out is don't post the inside of the school to Google, to the Google Maps portion of it. Keep it on your own camera because it becomes a safety issue, but we figured that out quickly. So I have some of the cameras that please enjoy. If you have questions for me, let me know. If you want to know how to integrate it within your classroom, I'd be happy to help you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So for the cardboard one, you had cell phones, but in the video, the teacher was using like a tablet.
So that is called Google Expedition. We do have a beta edition tester of that, and so basically what that does is you purchase a tablet. Samsung tablets work and they're fairly inexpensive, and the teacher can drive what is on the student's cell phones. For primary age students, that's probably your best way to go, because as you're walking down the Great Wall of China, you can force what picture they actually see, and that way they're not everywhere. But for middle and high school, it was better. It was better for them to go explore and see what they could see and have checkpoints.
And that's because you're Wi-Fi connected, and so you're talking to the devices through Wi-Fi.
Correct. The way that Expedition released it is the cell phones that the students have has one particular app on them, and the cell phone that the teacher has a separate app, and they talk amongst each other.
And so it's not, you don't have to trust the devices, they're just going through the app to do that.
Correct.
I'm asking this to see if this is something that students can create. I've been reading about, somebody created this, if you're in London, you're standing at the Tower of London, you put this on, and this thing they created, the GIS matches you up to where you're at, and you put it, you're looking at a spot, you put it on, and the GIS matches you up so you can see pictures from the past. That's what you're looking at. Is that something that's the capability of our students creating?
That's more augmented.
So Google Maps, as you're standing at a location, has the ability to look at all the pictures that's been loaded from that location. But as far as putting it on and seeing, I'm sure we could work around it. I've not done it, but I'm sure it's possible.
So that'd be a possibility for our students.
And that's probably more of an augmented reality with Erasmus and stuff, but we can show you that as well. That's more of an augmented, I think, more than virtual.
Well, and so and that's probably something I should mention. So virtual reality is more of this. Augmented reality is slightly different. And so Shanda is going to actually present on augmented reality. So you're going to kind of see both aspects of what virtual reality looks like versus augmented reality. And for a lot of people, the line is a little bit grayed and they're not sure which is which.
The cost of apps, are all these apps free?
Every app that I have used thus far is free. There are so many released free educational apps, and the realm of them are growing. Recently, there was a chemistry VR app that was released where you go around and you have to create water, but you have to go find the molecules that you need to create the water. And so that one was just released. There's some little tweaks that I didn't particularly care for in it, but I'm sure that there will be updates to fix some of those little